whether it was, getting married or marching in the civil rights movement or going to funerals. Every hat has a story behind it.
It's called Putting On Your Sunday Best. And for many women, that has always meant topping with your crowning glory. But what has happened to all the Easter hats? Let me start with you, Carla. Are you seeing the same volume of people coming to buy hats from your store as you historically have seen?
Yes, people love to get dressed up, so they love hats, to complement their outfits.
Yeah. Does it uptick around the Resurrection holiday?
Yes, it does. And plus, because Kentucky Derby, Mother's Day, so all those are back to back.
Mm-hmm. And Regine, do you think, though, that younger generations are wearing hats in the same way that, say, our foremothers may have worn them?
I probably not. I mean, I think I'm technically a millennial, but I know some, Gen Zers and all of that. I think they wear hats, and then for some people, it's part of their identity, part of their personal aesthetic, their fashion aesthetic. But I don't think it's the same. It's with the same sort of intention, perhaps, as my mother or my grandmother would have worn a hat. At least that's what I've noticed.
And what was that intention?
I mean, I know for my mother, her hats came out at special occasions. So weddings, Easter, going to church. In fact, my very first formative memory of hats is going to church on a Sunday as a 6-year-old. And I just remember sitting with these women who I did not know, but they all had their hats on, and we were sitting in front of the band at church. And so in my mind, that's still very much what I think of when I think of hats. I guess hats, capital H. It's a sign of respect. It's a sign of looking your best, right? You making sure not only for the occasion, but also you yourself are your best version of you. And that's what I remember as a young person.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you're working on an entire theatrical production, Crowns, yes. A gospel musical to be
yes.
specific, about not only the hats, but the women who have historically worn these hats. Mm-hmm. What's the significance of that?
So with this particular musical, it is in part based on a book of photography called Crowns, Black women, photographs of Black women in their hats. I might have just paraphrase that title. And the thing that's important about the book is these gorgeous portraits of these women across the South and wearing their Sunday best hats. But it's also the stories that are behind them, whether it was, getting married or marching in the civil rights movement or going to funerals. Every hat has a story behind it. And it's also the musical itself that is based on that book. It's about that sort of tradition going all the way back to Africa. It's not just something that sprouted up for us when in the States. It's something that came with us to the U.S., to the New World. The New World, that was very Western of me. To the West, and it's something that we've carried on through centuries. Whether or not we realize why we're doing it, it's part of who we are as a people in the diaspora.
Mm-hmm. Now, Carla, you obviously have a beautiful crown on right now. Tell me what goes into not only your selection of what kind of hat you may wear on a given day, but with the customers who you work with. How do you help them choose the best hat for themselves?
Well, this hat is called Uplifting because part of my hat journey, I was going to be a life coach. So I wanted all my hats to be named inspirational names. So when you walk into my store, you're going to have a hat that's positive and it's going to be inspiring. And so like the top hat that we have is sensational. Mm-hmm. And my tagline is be that in a hat. Because I want you to be uplifted. I want you to be sensational when you walk out the door in my hat.
Wow. So this is one of your hats as well.
Yep.
What's her name?
That's just the Kentucky Derby hat, but the red and blue one is the sensational.
Oh, yeah. Excellent. And I'm feeling it. It's talking to
me. And this one in particular is for those who experience alopecia. And so that's why it's uplifting, because I want those who experience alopecia to be uplifted when they wear these.
That's such an excellent point, because often we think about hats as an adornment, right? But they're also sort of a protective piece, too.
Yes.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that. In the play, there's a line that gets repeated about, for these women, my mother always used to say, put something on your head, put something on your head. And I immediately was like, right, my mother never wanted us to leave the house without our head covered. Growing up in New England, that's just standard. But like even if it rained or anything like that, put something on your head so you don't catch cold. So protection in that sense, and also just another way of hair is so important to Black women. And sometimes when you don't have it or if it doesn't quite look right, it feels like there's something missing. And of course there isn't, but a hat can be a really beautiful way of still sort of claiming that part of yourself and that aspect of your personality. It can be armor in that way as well.
I think about this. I don't know if either of you have seen The Wire, the HBO series, but there's a scene in which one of the characters, prominent characters, Omar, is out with his grandmother, and unfortunately, someone is shooting at them, and they miss him or his grandmother, but they hit the hat, and it becomes this huge controversy because they're like, "You don't ever come for a woman's crown, absolutely not, right?" Yep. So armor in a couple senses of the word. Regine, Carla, thank you both so much, and thank you to our audience for tuning in. And we want to know what keeps you rooted and what are the things that matter to you. Please check us out on Instagram and YouTube and right here every Tuesday night at 7:30.